Do you feel tired all the time? For most of my adult life, I've been known as a person who's saying, I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I feel totally drained. Does that sound like you? Well, as highly sensitive people, we become so overstimulated so easily, and sometimes we even need days to recover from it. So today I'm going to share with you 3 steps for overcoming overstimulation as a highly sensitive person. As HSPs, as highly sensitive people, we have a tendency to compare ourselves to others, to non-HSPs. So we think that we have to push through the day to get through all of the things that any non-HSP could do so much more effortlessly. And what that does, it leaves us feeling so unwell, exhausted, and sometimes a little bit miserable too. When we find ourselves comparing ourselves to others, it can really steal away our joy. And it's true what they say, that comparison is the thief of joy. When we start to try and adapt ourselves to the mold of others, it can really steal away our happiness and our joy. I personally remember a time when my entire week's schedule was fully booked up, weekends included. So in the week, I'd be at the office from 9 to 6. Then I would go to dance every night, get home for about 10 p.m. Then it would all repeat itself. Then on weekends, I'd end up trying to spend time with my partner at the time, who I hardly had time for in the week. And then I'd have plans with family, so I'd rush to get there, only to have no energy left for them. What then happened was that I had a partner at the time who was complaining that I never had time for her. And then everyone else was saying that I wasn't giving them enough of me, enough of my time. So at that point, I started to feel like I owed people more because I didn't want them to feel like I didn't care about them or that I didn't want to see them. So I'd squeeze out every microsecond of my time to give to others, and yet that still was not enough for anyone. So not only was I not able to please them, but I was left feeling totally depleted and in reality feeling quite isolated because I didn't dedicate time to anything else, including friends. So the fact is that had a non-HSP filled their time in this way, they would have probably been totally fine. In fact, they probably could have done all of that and gone partying with friends at night. Things started to change for me when I started to give myself permission to not do everything at the same time. As much as it's easy or easier to blame other people, we sometimes, especially as HSPs, put far more pressure on ourselves than necessary. We book up our schedule back to back because we feel like we owe it to others. When instead what we could actually do is allow ourselves the space to breathe and to recharge. I found myself in a similar situation to this again right before COVID. I knew that something needed to change, but I wasn't quite sure what that was at that point. I just knew that I was burning out trying to do too many things at the same time, between office work, private work, coaching, dance, gym, family, relationships, etc. A lot of these things were for me, but I ended up filling up my schedule because that's what I was used to doing. And I had a lot of ambitions as well. So knowing that something is not working is actually a really good place to be because it makes you stop and reflect on what needs to be altered and on what your priorities are. COVID, if anything, has taught us that life is too short to be racing through life, doing things that we don't actually want to be doing, or that are completely draining us out and burning us out. We often say that our highest priority, or the things that we value the most, are things like our well-being, our self-care, our time with our family, time with our friends or our partner. But in reality, for most of us, our lifestyle does not align with that. We tend to blame that we might not be able to have the financial stability that we currently have if we were to change direction in our career. Or we tend to blame family that ends up asking for things from us, when in actual fact we just have poor boundaries. But reality is that the most important things in life boil down to the simplest of things. And it all comes down to time, energy, and love. Those three things, those three simple things: time, energy, and love. And those three components coexist with one another as well. Giving someone our time and energy means giving them a part of us. It means giving them our love, our care. And love is not conditional, and it certainly isn't conditionally based on how much you are financially providing for a person either. And the thing about love is that it also creates a sense of peace and calm within you and other people. Tense energy is transmitted to those we love, and whenever we are tense, and it never negatively impacts on our relationships of all kind. So not only do we end up miserable, but everyone around us does too. Energy transmits. But a peaceful and loving energy can only create a positive impact on those around us as well as ourselves and our well-being, of course. So today I'd like to ask you to try these 3 steps and ask yourself these 3 questions and write them down. So the first one is this: what is it that you really value in your life? What is it that you really value in your life? The second one is, in what ways can you begin to better align your lifestyle with that, to make these things your priority? That can sometimes start with little things, even a daily habit that might be even a half hour of your time every day, to start to throw things into the right alignment with things that are more of a priority to you when it comes to your own deeper core values. And the third step here is ask yourself, in what way will that impact your relationships? If you were to move further ahead towards that vision that you've got in mind for yourself now, in what way will that impact your relationships? It's only when we begin to reflect on our priorities in life that we can begin to take action and start to align ourselves with them. Otherwise, we live life in a subconsciously driven state of constantly racing through life. And like I said earlier, if COVID has taught us anything, it's that life is too short to be racing through it. I hope you found this helpful, guys. Please drop me a comment below. I would love to know what you've come up with those 3 steps that I've shown you today. Take care.